I'm Tom, and I've always had a passion for cheap, fast sailing boats and making them better. This is my 2007 Foiling Moth that I recently purchased off Facebook Marketplace for just $100. In this series, we're going to finish off the boat, get it out on the water, and then find out how fast you can go, how much fun you can have, and if you're even competitive on a boat that costs just $100. Alright, so back to more normal programming for a bit, back onto the Moth project. So this boat is going pretty good, but it does have a few little teething issues that I've come across. I wasn't really going to address these for a while, but we sort of decided that we're going to have a Moth States in about 3 weeks, and before that we want to go and take the Moths to the Runstand Junior Foiling Cup, which is being held nearby pretty soon. So I've been sort of forced to take the Roma out and clean up the shed and swap from painting mode to moth fixing mode. So this next week we're just going to slowly work through all the little issues with this boat. Nothing too major, just a lot of fiddly little stuff to do, like it leaks in the front, it's got a big crack in the side where it's delaminated, the hiking strap things I invented broke, the deck fairing flies off and it flew off on the freeway and it's all broken, got to fix that, just a million little things to do. So there's a good week of work there. And then I've also got this on the go. The Moth came back with my canoe in the same container from the Sabre Nationals in Perth. So I managed to convince one of my friends at work that he should give it a go instead of sailing keelboats. And yeah, gradually wore him down. So he paid to get it over here, but the bowsprit was broken off at some point when I was sitting in the yacht club. So he's not really set up to fix stuff. Like, he lives in an apartment, doesn't have the space. I now have the space, so I said I'd have a go at fixing it for him. So basically we've got our bowsprit. So this is a genuine bugs cam conversion kit. These are amazing. I put one of these in my red boat and it went from being like a bucking rodeo horse to just easy as. So these are awesome. This one's even got the genuine like adjustable wand. So he's done really well here if I can get it back into one piece. And then it's also got the part that goes on the bow, which is what it's broken off. So I'm just going to have to try and figure out how to put these two pieces together. Looks like it's going to be a fair bit of laminating, but I reckon I'll get there. So yeah, lots to do to get 2 boats out on the water for our upcoming state titles, but really looking forward to it, and racing against a whole bunch of my friends that are all at a similar level to me or with older boats. So it's going to be awesome. Let's get into it. To hold everything in place while I got the bowsprit in the right location, I just got this gel super glue, which I hadn't used before, but it was actually really good because it kind of stayed where you left it, so I'll definitely keep that up my sleeve for future projects. Alright, and it is 2 pumps of resin and 1 of hardener. I just edited out the second pump of resin to save time. The bowsprit repair for my friend that I started last night has all cured, so now I'm just going to quickly sand that back nice and smooth, and then I'm going to laminate it and yeah, vacuum bag it so it's all strong again. And while that is has a vacuum pump running, I'll start looking at my boat and figure out what needs to do to make that sailable. So yeah, let's get into it. So for the laminating job on this one, I thought I'd use unidirectional basalt fibre for the main sort of strength, which is made from heated up volcanic rock that they then like extrude into a fibre. It sits about halfway between carbon and fiberglass in terms of both performance and cost, so it's really handy to have around. And then the blue carbon is actually just like blue polyester with carbon through it. I was hoping I was going to be able to make something that looked kind of cool at this stage. As you can see, I haven't quite got the hang of the vacuum bagging yet. I always end up with like a pleat I have to put somewhere to make it all work, but I was happy that I was able to get this down to about 85% vacuum pretty quick. This has had 24 hours to cure, so pretty excited to get the vacuum bag off and see how it looks and see what other work we have to do just to finish it off. So yeah, let's cut this bag off and see what we're in for. Unfortunately, I needed to sand it back to smooth it off, and that sort of fluffed up the blue carbon a bit much for me to clear coat it. I then drilled the holes out undersized so my friend can drill them accurately to the size of the fasteners that attach it to the boat. I also needed to fix this mysterious crack in the side of my boat. I have no idea what caused it. I thought I'd also quickly repair the foredeck so that I could laminate it properly later. I also had to inject even more resin into the side of my wings to seal it up. And as you can see, there's a lot you can do with black spray paint, so I just spray painted that bowsprit to make it look nice and pretty, and that was that job done. So my gantry had this mysterious crack in it. I'm wondering if it's from the carp I hit at Colac. I think it was pretty much just cosmetic because it's just those side panels where they attach to the tubes. So I put a heap of carbon fibre there as well just to make sure it was nice and strong, and then put peel ply and insulation tape over it to hold it all in place. I then refilled the manometer I made in an earlier episode. This just makes sure that I can't put too much pressure in the boat and actually blow it up. And this hole I'm drilling is for the manometer to connect into so that it regulates the pressure in that tank. Okay, so I've been hunting this leak in the front tank, and if I put my hand as far in as I can get it, I can feel just my air just pouring out when I turn the compressor on. But the problem is I can't actually see anything. My biggest hole saw is this one, so I'm just going to drill like a little inspection hole. I think I've narrowed it down that it's slightly on the port side, somewhere up in here. So I'm going to just drill a hole, like it's just a sacrificial foredeck, it's not like real. So I might as well just see what I'm dealing with and not waste a day. So let's just start drilling and see what we find. So I've narrowed down the location of my leak a little bit. It is somewhere where this the mast stump sort of intersects the deck and the front bulkhead, and then this kind of fairing thing up here, as far as I can tell. Because if I put my hand up to sort of before the hole, there's a bulkhead there, but I can feel air just pouring out of there. But to fix it, I sort of need to cut back all of this and get in there properly. But I'm not going to have time before the state titles if I want to get any practice in. I'm going to try and seal off that leak. I figured, why try and seal the actual leak if I can just turn that whole part of the boat into like a solid? So I'm going to have a play around with some pouring foam I've got left over from the Trimaran project. This time I'll try not to glue a pizza box into my boat like I did last time. I'll also patch up my little inspection port hole.
I've been losing sleep, what to do? Could somebody come and take me away? I've been in the deep without you, and I got it in my...
So I suppose when you think about it, putting that hole in the boat was a bit unnecessary because it didn't really help me at all. But it did help me narrow down where the leak was and ultimately gave me the kind of confidence to inject the whole boat full of foam. I also drilled these two kind of air holes at the back near the little tape dam that I'd made. And that meant that, you couldn't get too much pressure in there, and I figured that reduced the chances of blowing the foredeck off. And I'm always amazed with this stuff that it just goes so far. It's probably one of the best value products out there because you only need a tiny amount and it still expands so much that you end up with a real mess. So because this stuff's so messy, I was really careful to sort of make sure my push rod and my wand control lines were properly taped up so that I didn't get expanding foam shooting back up inside the push rod tube, which would glue it all in place. And that would really suck because then I'd have no ride height control at all. But I was pretty happy with how it all trimmed up with my little $39 saw. And not the worst job I've done. Alright, so it's about 10 o'clock Friday night. Got heaps to do. Want to sail Sunday afternoon. The forecast looks really good, so much to do to get to that point, but I reckon I'll be able to get there if I push hard and keep going. So let's get into it and see if it's possible to sail Sunday.
Night and day, but we are one step closer. We're all in this together.
So here I decided to paint the foam that I'd put in there with epoxy just to make sure it didn't absorb any water. I also put some Kevlar where the boom vang occasionally hits the side of the foredeck, and then some offcuts of carbon fibre over the whole lot just to make it look pretty again. The next part is probably the dumbest thing I've ever done on this channel. I thought if I just put some vacuum bag plastic over the carbon, I might get a decent finish straight off the bat and not have to clear coat and sand it. Instead, I ended up with a lot of little ripples that just looked like crap and ended up being a lot of work to sand. So definitely don't do that. That's a lesson learnt. I should have just put peel ply on it and done it that way. Well over 35 degrees today. It's Saturday. I want to sail tomorrow. I found my old portable air conditioner, so I'm hoping if I can get this to work, I'll have air conditioning in the shed, which will be a total game changer. So let's see what happens. Oh, so good. It was 35. It said so when I turned it on. I just had to stop filming for a bit because the camera got too hot and I had to put it in the air conditioner to cool it down. But I thought I'll just quickly whack the pressure tester on this now that it's all sealed up. See if all this work's actually done anything. Hopefully the water will just shoot straight out of the manometer behind me, and that means we've achieved something. But let's give it a go, see what happens. It's so hot even with the air conditioner going. Then I'll whack some clear coat on it, let that cure for the afternoon. Then tonight I can try and patch up the deck fairing a bit, put the bowsprit back on, load the boat on the trailer, ready to go sailing. So before I couldn't get any water to spray out of the manometer at all, now I got it to shoot out everywhere, so I definitely made some progress on that leak in the front tank, and I was a lot happier. I then thought I'll quickly whack a coat of clear coat on this foredeck, so that it looks half decent again, and yeah, the Norglass single pack stuff turned out alright. So pretty productive hour and a half or so. Very hot, but foredeck sorted, clear coated, that's almost dry. One's back on. Turned out the carbon push rod had come apart like you saw, so lucky I caught that because that would have sucked. Yeah, everything's ready. Deck fairing will be a next week job because I want to do it properly and core out where I'm going to put the pins and everything. But I've got proper waterproof tape to hold that on this time. Push rod sorted, just got to do that Cunningham block that's full of expanding foam. I'm sure we've all done the old expanding foam in your high load block, so I'm sure I'm not alone there, but yeah, just have to quickly splice up a new one and then put that on and get the boat on the trailer tonight. So yeah, I think that'll do for now. I'll come back out once it cools down. Okay, made it to Lysterfield on Sunday after a quick stop at Bunnings for some essentials. It's still really hot, probably 34 degrees, but on the way up at home the cold front had already got to us, so it's just really slow moving. So what we're hoping is the breeze is going to flick around to the south-southwest, cool down a lot and come in at sort of 10 to 15 knots, which is perfect here. They don't call it the Lake Garda of the eastern suburbs for nothing. So my old boat's here. Albert, who bought it, is here for his first sail on it, so it'll be interesting to see if this one's got any pace over that one. This one will be running the high lift foil. That one's got a slightly faster Mach 2 foil in it now, so I'd expect it to be a little bit quicker, but this one is obviously more modern, so that might offset it. We'll see. But right now it's a pumping northerly, so I need to rig up, and hopefully while we do that the breeze will die out and shift around a bit. So let's get into it. So that cool change did come through with a heap of rain, and we ended up having to rig in the rain and the mud, and it wasn't that fun. But by the time we were launched and sailing, the sun had come out and it was all nice again. Yeah, pretty annoying to lose that camera, but that was a brand new one. At least I got it super cheap on special, but I'll have to find a better way to hold those on than that stock mount. The basalt lashing around the shock on that bridle broke. Yeah. So I'll have to lash it with a piece of Dyneema in my life jacket. Yeah, I'll do that now. You go sail off. So interestingly, the basalt that I had going around these shocks actually shattered. So I think maybe I made the radius around the shock too tight, and I'll have to come up with a better plan there, maybe using low friction rings. So I reckon I might have a bit much angle of attack on that main foil on this sort of high lift setup, because I've got to run quite a lot of bow down to get the boat to sort of fly level or stop gaining altitude, if that makes sense, which means I run out of rudder pretty quick because I'm running an old school rudder from like 2009, which isn't that long. So I might have to reduce the angle of attack a little bit on the main foil just to effectively make my rudder longer again, because yeah, it seems to get a bit out of whack in jibes and stuff. Even though my technique's not great, when I was sailing my old boat over there, I did used to be able to foil jibe a lot easier. Whoa! Haha! Yes! So I think this really highlights that you've got to be going fast into maneuvers. Here I had no chance of making it out of this jibe. Like, my takeoff speed's obviously about 8.5 or 9 knots, and as soon as I bear away into a maneuver I lose like 2 knots, which puts me back to my takeoff speed and I'm in the water before I know it. Basically just stuck here now. It's just glassed off to nothing. Bit strange, wasn't forecast to do this at all. Maybe it's these big thunderclouds up inland that are still causing havoc. I don't know, very weird. Like, it's meant to be a cold southerly and it's nothing at the moment, so I suppose we're going to keep waiting because there is no way to go anywhere. This thing sits so low in the water, like, it's very weird. I don't feel like I'm that far back in the boat. Now the breeze has gone right around and it's back over here. I don't know, maybe it's going to build from this direction. Such a weird day. Oh, it's so swirly. Oh, there's wind here. So here I clearly had a leak in the back half of the boat. When I got in, I actually had so much water in the boat that it took probably 8 minutes to drain. I think what's happened is when I've hit that carp at Colac, I've damaged the back of my centerboard case, and yeah, it's giving me issues. So that's going to be this week's project. Oh, it's so frustrating. So after a heap of struggling to stay on the boat when it just wanted to backflip because it wasn't floating anymore, I did eventually make it back into the beach and I survived. So yeah, a massive thanks to everyone that continues to support the channel on Patreon. It's greatly appreciated. And everyone that leaves a comment. I love reading them. People sending me a message on Instagram. It's awesome. So thanks to everyone that supports the channel in whatever way they do. Remember to like and subscribe. Send it to any friends that you think might be interested. And I'll be back next week, hopefully with some footage from the Ronstand Junior Foiling Cup, where we're going to sail around on the Moths.